Dan.
Going live.
Hi, I got your email.
Hi, Marilyn.
Yeah, I always read them late. I did calls during Obama's election, and I didn't like it. So I want to write letters, but I'm trying to get into it. And every time I get my password, they say it's wrong. So I can't.
Password to what, Marilyn?
Vote forward. You know, when you
Vote forward. Hi, Ed.
Yeah, so I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I've got trouble with passwords.
You know what? Have you got Marilyn's number? Because she's been doing it right along to vote forward.
Marilyn who?
I mean, Jean.
Oh,
You're
Jean.
Marilyn.
All right. I can call Jean.
Call Jean because she's been doing it right along. The only thing I'm worried about is too many postal things going on.
Yeah, they say that
That's why I thought calling.
mail it this week. To mail it this week.
Yeah.
By
Okay.
17th, because of all the because of all the mail.
I know. I love the idea. Talk to Jean.
Jean about it and that.
Yeah.
Is this Carville-Ziemer? Is she a minister at the Northfield Church?
Yeah, she is. Carville-Ziemer.
Ziemer. She's there once a month or?
Yep.
Okay.
She's there once a month, and she has a full-time job as on the staff of the UUA ministers. I should remember the exact title. I'm sure she'll tell you.
Dan, at the end of the service, can we do a Bernardston chat?
Sure.
Just so that we can get feedback about how people like this, doing it together and all that stuff.
Okay.
Thank you. I did say that on the email, so people are expecting to maybe have a little Bernardston chat. Hi, Dolly.
Hi.
Can people see the slides? I just want to make sure.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yes.
Welcome.
Okay.
We'll start soon.
This is a little detail that we're going to do a little differently this morning. We're going to have the words and things will be in the chat window. And if you look on your device of choice, there'll be a little icon that says chat. And if you open that up and set it someplace where you can see it.
The words and lyrics are going to be in the chat.
Yeah, if you have some issue, send a chat message to me. And we are broadcasting live on YouTube. So the entire world is watching.
Oh, geez.
Looking on the volume.
Yeah.
To people or see the whole grid of folks. So that's the name of that tune. I'm going to check something real quick. Hold on. I'm going to mute my. All right, let's see here. Stop my video.
Trump was born in June. George W. Bush in July. Bill Clinton in August. About 46.
The stories of her life that before the show starts. So the clip that I want to show you today is from an episode called Grandpa's Drum. It's the first episode in the series on PBS. And in this episode, Molly is preparing to sing in a show for her community. She finds a picture of a girl that she doesn't recognize with her grandpa when he was little, and he's holding a drum. She's surprised because she never hears her grandpa play a drum or sing. So she asks him to sing in the show with her. He tells Molly that he doesn't sing anymore because he gave his drum away to the friend in the picture a long, long time ago. And that when he did, he lost all his songs. Molly and her friends decide that they're going to try to use that picture to figure out who her grandpa gave his drum away to and try to get it back. They do some really great detective work and they find the woman in another town who still does have the drum tucked away. And this is where our clip picks up.
Cho, thank you for inviting us in.
You are welcome. Gee, but your grandpa had a real good voice and the best sense of humor. He sure joked around lots.
Like me.
He was always singing. So much singing. Too much singing.
That's like Molly, too. If he loves singing so much, why did he give you his drum?
At the school, we weren't allowed to sing the songs of our people. It was forbidden. They only wanted us to sing new songs, their songs, in English. We were made to feel bad about who we were, of the way our people did things. Your grandfather, he did not like that. He was proud of his family. He loved our traditions.
Pisa fuerte toda la pobre inocencia de la gente. Es un monstruo grande y pisa fuerte toda la pobre inocencia de la gente. Solo le pido a Dios que el engaño no me sea indiferente. Si un traidor puede más que unos cuantos, que esos cuantos no lo olviden fácilmente. Solo le pido a Dios que el futuro no me sea indiferente. Desahuciado está el que tiene que marchar a vivir una cultura diferente. Solo le pido a Dios que la guerra no me sea indiferente. Es un monstruo grande y pisa fuerte toda la pobre inocencia de la gente. Es un monstruo grande y pisa fuerte toda la pobre inocencia de la gente.
I shared that song with you because it's also like a prayer, and it is. If you're not familiar with it or don't speak Spanish, I encourage you to read the English translation that is in the chat. It is a song that's widely used in protest movements across Latin America, and I became acquainted with it in the service that was led by Indigenous Unitarian-Universalists to open the General Assembly this summer that was held virtually online. I'm also going to show you a clip now from that service from Jessie Little Doe Baird, who's the vice chairwoman of the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe. You might think about this as a companion piece to the Time for All Ages that I shared with the children earlier. I invite you to think about this as a time for adults, an opportunity for us to consider how we might put our faith in action.
Wanina kan mas nanyuak. Nikoni nakat sam kapiamu you wataki mo monyat. Nakaki katukau papami watami panau ganash wachi masipi mo panaak. Kwat wonk nakat sam Nikoni Momi Pompai Nikoni Nakatsam Katavatash Manat Wachi Womi Kyakusanish Wachi Wami U Ahkiash Ka Wonk Wami Mataak Ka Wami Yuk Nitomba Nanonak. My name is Jessie Little Doe Baird, and firstly, I would like to say welcome to this territory and this place, and I thank you all for coming. And I am the vice chairwoman of the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe, and I'm also a mother of 5 and a grandmother of 9. And I would like to talk to you about the troubles that we are having here, the Mashpee Wampanoag Nation. But first, and always first, I want to thank the Creator, the Almighty Creator, who breathed all of us into existence and who breathed love and respect into existence, the things from which we're made. And I want to thank Creator for all of the land, not just Mashpee land, and all of the earth and all of the peoples, and especially for the friends and allies that we have. As you may be aware, right now, we are in the midst of an existential threat to our very existence. We have been governing ourselves and living on our lands and not leaving our territory for at least 12,000 years. And we've suffered every manner of degradation, of land loss, of oppression, of having our children indentured, having our children sent off to boarding school, forced assimilation practices, forced conversion practices. And through all of these things, we've managed to be resilient and hold our place in the land. It took us 32 years for the United States government to acknowledge our government via federal acknowledgement. And that only happened in 2007. And it took 54,000 page application for that and another 14,000 page application for our land and trust. Having land and trust, which we were granted in 2015, means that you give your lands over to the United States of America to hold them in trust for you, and your land becomes what's called Indian country and a reservation. And within those protected boundaries, you can exercise everything from your own tribal police to your own school system, which we have, and housing and healthcare and social needs and economic development and governance. During this very difficult time of sickness, we are also struggling with the sickness of oppression, and we are struggling with the sickness of racism and privilege, white privilege, and we are suffering under the system that says that we can have only so much as the United States government tells us that we can have, and maybe we can survive. But every time we think that we're going to thrive, we seem to be smacked down by the United States. We have HR 312 that passed the House, and this act would keep our trust lands in place. We are also in federal court, and we should be getting a ruling in the next week from a judge about whether or not the Department of Interior did a poor job in changing their mind when they were supposed to defend us in court. This will be the first time in the modern era that any tribe has had its lands taken out of trust if this occurs. And we are looking for support to try to get HR 312 to the floor for a vote in the Senate. It's been stalled. And we're asking for your support. But more than anything, I'm asking for your prayer. I know that this is the most powerful thing, is intention in the universe and creation. And please pray for me. I am trying to hold tight to my faith that whatever happens will eventually work together for the good. But it's really difficult. So I thank you for taking the time to listen to me and for your care and concern. And I send you love and light from people of the light. Pishkananamu, Katabtanamu.
That bill, part of the reason that I chose to share this excerpt with you as we consider faith today and what it means to have faith in all seasons is because that video was recorded in May and that bill is still stalled. It still has not been brought for a vote in the Senate. So perhaps tomorrow on Indigenous Peoples Day, you might learn a little bit about how you can support the invitation for us to help support the efforts of the Mashpee Wampanoag to move that forward in the Senate. They've created the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe has created a website with more information about what we can do to help. And I'll put that link in the chat after the service. There's a petition to sign and other very practical ways that we might contribute. But first I would like to share a reading with you. This is from Penthea Burns. She's a senior associate at the Cutler Institute and the Muskie School of Public Service. And for a couple of decades now, she's worked with the Wabanaki Tribal Child Welfare Program and the State of Maine Department of Health and Human Services to improve Maine's compliance with the Indian Child Welfare Act and to promote best child welfare practices with Native children, youth, and families. There was a commission called the Maine Wabanaki State Child Welfare Truth and Reconciliation Commission that she helped to support coming into being and attended. And she wrote this poem, Reparation, on the occasion of the closing ceremony for that commission, and asks that we please read the poem as an anthem of gratitude and love for the commission, and of honor and love for those who gave statements and supported the work. She invites us to hear the poem as a call to action and a call to love for us all. Reparation. I rose before the dawn this morning. I sat alone and turned on no lamp. Comforted by the dark, I sought to understand myself and all of history. I know what we've done. I acknowledge the taking of your land, your ancestors' lives, your children, your language and prayers. We took the untakeable to feed a hunger that was only in our minds. I acknowledge the lies, doctrines, and destinies, Spencer Phipps and old Westerns, my history books, executive decrees, unsigned court orders. I don't even know how many treaties we broke. I acknowledge the terror, the overwhelming use of force, mass numbers, burning churches, trails and trails of tears. In a darkened cellar, one small child stands alone, perfect and beautiful, exposed and vulnerable. Taken and severed from what she needs to be whole, to belong, to be home, to know her people so that she may know herself. I acknowledge the silence, invisibility and denial, my privilege which allows me to hide from harm, to protect my interests while you are exposed to risk. We've never recognized nor measured our debt, so we awaken now to do that accounting. I acknowledge that hope depends on our people, finding our shared humanity, standing for what is good in our world and in ourselves. Hope depends on our people repairing the takings with generosity and justice, making amends for the lies with a truthful look at history, at ourselves, restoring those terrorized with healing and compassion, compensating for our silence by listening and bearing witness and speaking out. Silent no more. Hope depends on knowing that we do not own, that we have no authority from God except a mandate to love one another, to love this land that we call home, to live in peace together. I know what we've done. I've heard your stories, witnessed your tears, been amazed by your resilience that you are still here. While our collective acts are written on my heart, our crimes need not define us. For I know too what is possible when we choose justice and compassion, when we choose to acknowledge and repair, to stand in solidarity. This is the time, this is the hour. Shall we fulfill our mandate and remember who we are? Who are we? We can answer that question individually, of course, personally, speaking in so many varied ways. I might say I'm a daughter, a mother, an aunt, a spouse, a friend, a minister, someone who likes hiking and cooking and fall. Just as important, if not more important, is how we answer that question collectively. We are human beings living in the 21st century in a time of global our own lives. But today, I want to take a few moments to reflect on how this has been so in our religious tradition. Historical universalist theology is rooted in a concept of universal salvation, the idea that all will eventually be saved and reconciled unto God. Our religious ancestors also believed that our work as humans is to strive during our time on earth to establish the kingdom of heaven here on earth. The universalists who came before us had a clear and compelling theology. The legacy they left us reveals many ways they translated their theology into faithful action in the world. Universalists were active in a host of social reforms of their own time, aimed at humanizing those whom their society dehumanized, including prisoners, people with mental illness, and the poor. They were active in abolition and education reform and the fight for women's suffrage. And of course, because humans are humans and limited and finite, they were not all in accord with all those efforts. And those who were committed were not perfect in aligning their values with their lives with their values. Because to be human is to be full of contradictions and inconsistencies. That's just an acknowledgement